The psychology of people who struggle to say no. There are people in this world who rarely ask for anything. They don't demand. They don't argue. They don't push back. Instead, they say yes, even when they're exhausted, even when it hurts, even when every part of their mind whispers. But they don't want to. Not because they are weak, not because they lack opinions, but because saying no feels dangerous, heavy, wrong. This is the psychology of people who struggle to say no, and it rarely begins in adulthood. 1. The early lesson, love as a condition. For many, this pattern begins in childhood, in families where needs were inconvenient, where emotions were too loud, where saying no meant conflict, rejection, or punishment. So the child learns a quiet lesson. To be loved, you must not disrupt anything. To stay safe, you must stay agreeable. Psychologists call this fawning, a survival response where you keep others happy, so you don't lose connection. It feels like kindness, but underneath, it is fear wearing politeness as armor. 2. The identity of being the reliable one. As they grow, this survival pattern becomes identity. They become the dependable friend, the emotionally available partner, the colleague who always takes extra work, the one who carries the room while pretending they aren't tired, and the world rewards them for it. People say, "You're so kind. You're so easy to be around. I know I can always count on you." And quietly, they begin to believe that their value lies only in compliance. 3. The internal conflict. Inside, it sounds like this. I don't want to, but I'll do it. It's fine. I'll manage. I don't want to disappoint them. I'll deal with the consequences later. Saying no triggers guilt. Saying yes triggers resentment. So they choose guilt toward themselves instead of disappointment from others, because one thing feels familiar and the other feels terrifying. 4. The nervous system connection. Psychologically, this isn't a personality flaw. It's a nervous system adaptation. Over time, the body begins to associate boundaries with risk. Heart rate rises. Breath shortens. The mind floods with what ifs. What if they get upset? What if they think I'm selfish? What if they leave? So the nervous system picks the safest option. Agree. Submit. Keep the peace, even if peace only exists for everyone else. 5. The mask of kindness. On the surface, they look endlessly kind, but inside, they often feel unseen. Because when you rarely say no, people stop asking what you actually want. You become a service instead of a person. And slowly, resentment begins to grow, not as anger toward others, but as quiet exhaustion toward yourself. 6. Why they struggle to receive care. There's another layer. People who struggle to say no also struggle to be cared for. Help feels uncomfortable. Support feels undeserved. Attention feels dangerous. Because deep down, a belief lives there. My worth depends on what I provide, not on who I am. So when someone finally shows genuine care, it feels unfamiliar, suspicious, temporary, and they continue giving from an already empty cup. 7. The cost of never saying no. The cost is rarely dramatic. It is gradual. It looks like burnout that feels normal, relationships where needs are one-sided, difficulty resting without guilt, losing touch with personal desires, confusion about identity. Because when you live your life through yes, you slowly forget what you would have chosen if no had ever felt safe. And the saddest part? People assume you are fine because you never complain. 8. The boundary paradox. Here is the paradox. People who never say no fear losing others, but what they really lose is themselves. Boundaries do not push love away. They filter it. They reveal who values you and who only values what you provide. 9. Relearning the word no. Healing does not happen by becoming harsh or cold or distant. It begins with a simple realization. No is not rejection. It is self-recognition. It sounds like, I don't have capacity for that. I need rest. I can't help this time. I deserve space too. And yes, at first, guilt will arrive. But guilt is not a sign you are wrong. It is a sign you're breaking a pattern that once kept you safe, but now keeps you small. 10. The soft return to self. People who struggle to say no are rarely selfish. In fact, They are often the most empathetic souls alive. But empathy without boundaries is not compassion, is self-abandonment. And the journey forward is not about silencing kindness. It's about including yourself in the circle of people you care for. 11. The closing reflection. If you are someone who finds no caught in your throat, I want you to remember this. You do not exist to keep the world comfortable. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. Your heart, your time, your energy are not public property, and the people who truly love you will not disappear when you finally begin to honor yourself. This is Ethiax, where psychology meets responsibility, and responsibility begins when kindness toward others no longer requires cruelty toward yourself.